By 1932, the Nazis were the largest political party in the Reichstag. In January of the following year, with no other leader able to command sufficient support to govern, President Paul von Hindenburg appointed Hitler Chancellor of Germany. Shortly thereafter, a fire broke out in the Reichstag building in Berlin, and authorities arrested a young Dutch communist who confessed to starting it. Hitler used this episode to convince President Hindenburg to declare an emergency decree suspending many civil liberties throughout Germany, including freedom of the press, freedom of expression, and the right to hold public assemblies. The police were authorized to detain citizens without cause, and the authority usually exercised by regional governments became subject to control by Hitler's national regime. Almost immediately, Hitler began dismantling Germany's democratic institutions and imprisoning or murdering his chief opponents. When Hindenburg died the following year, Hitler took the titles of Führer, Chancellor, and Commander-in-Chief of the army. He expanded the army tremendously, reintroduced conscription, and began developing a new air force, all violations of the Treaty of Versailles. Hitler's military spending and ambitious public works programs, including building a German Autobahn, helped restore prosperity. His regime also suppressed the Communist Party and purged his own paramilitary stormtroopers, whose violent street demonstrations alienated the German middle class. This bloodletting, called the Night of the Long Knives, was hugely popular and welcomed by the middle class as a blow struck for law and order. In fact, many Germans went along with the full range of Hitler's policies, convinced that they would ultimately be advantageous for the country. In 1938, Hitler began his long-promised expansion of national boundaries to incorporate ethnic Germans. He colluded with Austrian Nazis to orchestrate the Anschluss, the annexation of Austria to Germany. And in Hitler's most brazenly aggressive act yet, Czechoslovakia was forced to surrender the Sudetenland, a mountainous border region populated predominantly by ethnic Germans. The Czechs looked to Great Britain and France for help, but hoping to avoid war, they had been bled white in World War I. These nations chose a policy of appeasement. At a conclave held at Munich in September 1938, representatives of Great Britain and France compelled Czech leaders to cede the Sudetenland in return for Hitler as pledged not to seek additional territory. The following year, the German army swallowed up the remainder of Czechoslovakia. British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, one of the signers of the Munich Pact, had taken Hitler at his word. Returning to Britain with this agreement in hand, he proudly announced that he had achieved peace with honor. I believe it is peace for our time. A year later, German troops stormed into Poland,